Los Angeles, California. With 13 million people and over 1,000 emergencies a day, it's often referred to as the local news capital of the world. Video journalists have captured an unbelievable catalog of events.
To see what our members had to endure is very difficult.
This is almost like a movie. It's hard to believe that this was real life.
With our first on-scene heroes' perspectives, this is an insight into their most thrilling moments. In this episode, a high-speed red light runner causes deadly chaos.
It was like a plane had crashed in the middle of the city.
Everyday heroes risk their lives to save strangers from a blazing inferno.
People, children, running out of their house and about to lose everything that they own.
And exactly how did this guy get stuck? And how will they get him out?
I have not filmed anything quite like this story.
27 people are killed or injured in car crashes every single day in Los Angeles. For first on-scene responders, every rescue involves potential life and death decisions. It's just after midnight in tourist hotspot Universal City. Fast-acting rescue workers are doing everything they can to save a man's life.
So this crash is a physical rescue where the fire department physically have to peel that car away from the victim. I mean, you can see how bad it is. It's hit a pole, it sheared the car nearly in half.
In this instance, firefighters were not able to easily gain access to the driver. There was significant damage to the driver's side, so our heavy rescue company utilized their cable connected to chains to pull that vehicle away from that concrete light standard, now exposing that side of the vehicle that we couldn't get to allow other firefighters to come in.
You can see they have the chains around the car, they pull it away from the concrete light pole, and watching them use all that stuff is just, it's incredible to me.
With the car completely demolished, the response team cautiously wrestle with the wreckage to free the trapped victim.
The term jaws of life is familiar for a lot of people, especially in car wrecks, that to pull people out. Those firefighters are also making very strategic cuts against that car. So there's a lot of nuances that are taking place as they literally remove that roof off. They also have hydraulic rams that can be put in and to spread that squished compartment away to create a bigger space for us to get that patient out.
It ultimately boils down to, how do you rip apart a 4,000-pound piece of metal and glass without ripping apart that person? What's incredible is this guy actually survived. I mean, it's a testament to how well cars are made these days. I mean, he hit that pole and wrapped himself around it. He hit it on the driver's side too. And he's talking to paramedics as he's being extricated. When you see that person freed from that vehicle, you almost want to cheer.
That person is very fortunate that they didn't die upon impact. There was damage to the actual driver's side of the vehicle. Firefighters quickly arrived, had the tools, team, and training to get him out safely.
Miraculously, the man survives and is transported to hospital with minor injuries. His car, however, is another story. Not every call that first responders receive is life-threatening. In fact, some of the more mundane calls turn out to be stranger than fiction. First responders have seen all types of unusual situations, but sometimes they still need to be seen to be believed. Just after 3 a.m., a call comes in from a man who has found himself in an exceptionally unusual predicament.
Cameraman gets there on scene. Apparently a guy's trapped in the trunk of his car. How did he get there? Did someone put him there? Did he lock himself in? Did he fall into the trunk? Who knows?
I have not filmed anything quite like this story. Maybe they were reaching for something and just got wedged in there and couldn't get back out.
LAPD arrived on scene and requested a backup from Los Angeles City Fire Department with their paramedics. Once they discovered the man was stuck in the trunk of the car, they had to try and pull him out of the vehicle.
We go to all kinds of emergency incidents. In reality, we're problem solvers. If you have a problem, we're going to solve it. So this is a unique one, and it kind of needs to be balanced by making sure we maintain that person's dignity too. No doubt they're embarrassed. They're in a very precarious situation where they're stuck. And so we need to make sure that they can breathe, that their vital signs are okay, and then how are we going to get that individual out?
See, we still don't know how this guy got stuck in the car. He wasn't shoved in the back of the car and hogtied by someone. They think he might have put himself in the vehicle and pulled the door but didn't realize it was going to lock and he couldn't get himself out. So the fire department, when they arrived, they must be thinking, this is a bizarre call. What's going on here?
They probably thought we have a lot of training to learn how to cut people out of cars, but I'm not sure if they have a lot of training on how to pull people out of the back of the trunk.
After some intense troubleshooting, the firefighters finally free the unfortunate man from his vehicle unharmed.
In the end, the man came out of the trunk of the car. I think he was a little bit embarrassed, but happy ending for all.
Coming up.
Never experienced anything so harrowing.
But first,
People, children, running out of their house and about to lose everything that they own.
time is always of the essence in emergency situations. A matter of seconds can mean the difference between life and death, especially when it comes to fires in buildings. California may be known for its wildfires, but the state also has an average of 200,000 house fires every year. It's after midnight in North Hollywood, and a fast-moving blaze from an abandoned building is coming dangerously close to apartments where families with young children are sleeping soundly. They have no way of knowing just how much danger their lives are in.
We actually got to see that perspective of somebody that was there before first responders.
Selfless neighbors and complete strangers are racing against the clock to sound the alarm and make sure that all residents get out alive.
This gentleman was doing a fantastic job of warning his neighbors and taking risk. I applaud his efforts for trying to make sure that everybody evacuated that apartment building.
A lot of times when we arrive to the scene, this is exactly what we're seeing. People, children being woken up in the middle of the night in just their pajamas, running out of their house and about to lose everything that they own. They're displaced at this point.
Try to get a line down here.
In less than 4 minutes, a building fire can reach intense temperatures that will melt many metals and quickly kill a human. The everyday heroes and first responders must act fast to make sure all residents are evacuated so the firefighters can combat the spreading inferno.
The most effective strategy is going to be what we call an offensive strategy and a direct attack. Firefighters are going to take hose lines and go to the seat of the fire and attempt to extinguish it. You also saw firefighters with circular saws and what we call a partner saw perform forcible entry so we can gain entry and get those hose lines exactly where they need to be to mitigate the fire.
4 apartments are reported to be damaged in the fire, and 8 people are left homeless. 1 victim is taken to a nearby hospital with minor burns. 2 others are treated at the scene. While the damage is severe, first responders undoubtedly saved many lives by quickly getting control of the fire. Nearly half of all motor vehicle accidents occur at intersections, and the most likely to cause serious injury are when thoughtless drivers run a red light. It's estimated that over 260,000 red light running crashes occur every year in the United States. That's an average of 1 every 2 minutes.
Middle of the afternoon, I get a phone call from someone saying, "Hey, I got some footage, Shannon. You want to check it out? It was a crash." I said, "Yeah, send it over to me." I opened it up on my phone and I looked at it and went, wow.
It's a typical summer day in Los Angeles when a busy intersection suddenly becomes the scene of a horrific car crash after a speeding driver hurtles through a red light.
When you play back the security video of this particular crash, you see how violent it was and how fast this person was driving in the 35 mile per hour zone. And it was reportedly clocked at going over 100 miles per hour, resulting in her crashing into a gas station.
A cruelly reckless action causes a catastrophic collision involving multiple vehicles and 15 people.
I remember that story. The driver was traveling at a high rate of speed as she ran the red light and collided with a couple of vehicles.
In an accident like this, it was, obviously very horrific. The damage was widespread, so the firefighters are going to be focused on looking for survivors, tending to the victims, putting out the fire. And then our law enforcement partners, they're going to start establishing scene safety and that perimeter. What we're there to do is to identify how many people we could actually save. And unfortunately, at times, deaths occur out in the field.
Once police arrive on scene, the heart-wrenching search for survivors begins. Coming up,
firefighters are looking for survivors, tending to the victims.
And then,
Oh my gosh, is this person going to get away?
Patrol were conducting the investigation into the crash. Media were lined up around the streets. It was like a plane had crashed in the middle of the city. The devastation there, the destruction, you can see the cars burnt out, white sheets everywhere, canopies over bodies. It was unbelievable. I'd never experienced anything so harrowing in my life.
Post-accident, you saw the California Highway Patrol with their MATE team, that's their major accident investigation team, and then also the LA County Coroner's Office that came out as well to start dealing with the remains of the deceased.
I come to find out later on there were 6 people that died. There was one woman 8.5 months pregnant, her 11-month-old son, and her boyfriend in one vehicle. All 4 lives were lost. Another husband and wife, elderly couple in another vehicle, they also lost their lives. And the woman who caused the crash, she survived.
That was a horrific scene, something that could have been avoided. And due to someone's reckless or careless acts, many people lost their lives.
with police finding dead victims, the crash site becomes a crime scene.
It was a tragic, senseless tragedy that shouldn't have happened.
These crashes could be avoided. Be aware of the traffic signals and slow down.
It's 9:30 p.m. in Studio City, Los Angeles, and an urgent call has come in for a multiple vehicle crash. Among the damage is a crushed fire hydrant that is now flooding the streets.
Anytime there's a traffic collision that involves a sheared fire hydrant, I'm going to go and shoot that. I'll drive a long way to shoot a crash that involves a fire hydrant. Number one, it's great visually. I mean, it's something you don't see every day. And number two, it takes forever to turn those things off, so I have the time to get there.
The firefighters arrive to quickly shut off the water, but it's no easy feat to turn off the immense pressure that's sending enormous jets of water high into the air.
I actually really like going to hydrant calls. They're just super visual, and you've got water shooting up, and with the water crisis here in California, people, when they see this stuff on the news, they get angry that there's water being wasted.
Those fire hydrants are actually made to shear off, and that actually protects the main infrastructure underneath from damage. We're going to locate a fire hydrant shutoff valve. So we will chisel some asphalt away, open that up. We'll put down a rod that can connect to it, allowing two members to shut this down. It takes about 18 to 26 turns.
Water shooting 100 feet in the air, a couple of crashed cars, fire department getting wet.
And let's be honest, who doesn't like firemen dripping wet?
It's a very cold operation, especially if it's in winter and the water shoots up so high it gets cold and it comes down and it's just hitting your plastic helmet. It's almost deafening. It can be even hard to communicate with the firefighter next to you.
The fire crew finally managed to stop the flood before heading back to base to dry off. Coming up.
She would not comply with the officers, so they released their furry friend onto her.
But first...
Oh my gosh, is this person going to get away?
He runs.
In a city notorious for its heavy traffic, high-speed car chases are dangerous and unpredictable. A police pursuit can be thrilling for TV viewers, but potentially deadly for first responders and civilians trapped in its path.
When I'm covering a story like this, what goes through my mind, and I could imagine what's going through so many other people's minds, is like, oh my gosh, is this person going to get away? Is this person actually going to get away?
It's 10 p.m. in South Los Angeles, and police are pursuing a vehicle speeding through suburban streets.
It's evading police, it's causing this disruptive behavior on the streets of Los Angeles, plus it can actually harm innocent lives.
After desperately evading law enforcement, the car unexpectedly pulls over to the side of the road.
Vehicle finally comes to a stop.
He got out of the vehicle and sat on the hood.
He's like, hey, what's up, guys? Just chilling. You half expect him to get a cigarette out and start smoking.
I don't know what was going through his mind, but he was probably messing with them.
Telling the cops to calm down as they formed a team to go and take him into custody.
He wasn't complying with the police or complying to the commands.
A group of officers carefully approach the man as he moves off the vehicle and raises his hands, seemingly surrendering.
Just out of nowhere, no warning, he gets off the trunk of the car.
He decided to run from the police.
He runs.
It seemed to be a joke for the suspect because he laughed as he was running away. And then he tripped over his own feet.
He runs so fast his legs can't keep up and he takes a tumble and he's in custody just like a Tom and Jerry cartoon. The LAPD didn't even have to tell him to get on the ground. He fell by himself.
Many times you can't predict the outcome. However, some of the outcomes can be very comical. This was one.
It's a happy ending. I mean, the police couldn't have asked for anything better, really. As a police officer, you're going to be laughing at the termination of this. Like, thanks for that. You really helped.
After his failed attempt to escape, the police apprehend the man, leaving him no leg to stand on. "100 miles south in San Diego, another high-stakes police pursuit is taking place.
Officers were involved in a vehicle pursuit. The pursuit started in San Diego County and traveled all the way to Orange County.
This suspect suddenly had a change of heart. She pulled over on the side of the freeway, but she was not listening to the police officer's commands. She wouldn't exit the vehicle. Since she wouldn't exit the vehicle peacefully, officers then shot pepper balls into the vehicle and coasted her out that way.
The police fire the pepper balls directly into the car, aiming to smoke the driver out into the open.
Pepper balls are known to fill a space and make it very difficult to breathe. It creates an irritation to the eyes and the throat, causing coughing and gasping for air. Once the driver exited the vehicle, due to the pepper balls, which were extremely effective, she was giving numerous commands.
Still, once she was outside the vehicle, she would not comply with the officers. So they released their furry friend onto her.
The police deploy the K-9 team, hoping the intimidating animal will force the driver to comply with their orders.
If one resource isn't working, then on to the next, which is then going to be a K-9 officer.
In this case, the dog jumped in and started ripping the seats out of the car. The woman was so emotional, she's pleading with the police, "Don't let the dog bite me, don't let the dog bite me." They held the dog back and they took her safely into custody.
With the defiant suspect finally complying with commands, the officers quickly take her into custody.